I remember when the offer letter came in, it was early 7:30.
You were the one who actually shared with me the offer letter. I was sleeping, I was asleep. You shared it to me at 6:30 in the morning, and you had given me a call on the 20th of August. Mrityunjay, आगे आपका offer letter देख लो एक बारी.
And I think that was the moment that, it was like finally, after a very long time, we had achieved it. So, आपका क्या reaction था? मैं तो तुम्हें आधी नींद से उठा दिया था भाई. And I'm still, I don't feel sorry for it, to be very honest.
Sir, you don't have to. तब से मैं सोया भी नहीं हूँ सर, जब से I was so very happy, sir. I was so very happy because we had planned it, from the scratch, right?
Correct.
I remember we were keeping other options as well, NUS and NTU, but we hadn't applied in those yet. We were bullish on the fact that, let's crack this, let's do it. You have a good profile, let's work it out, let's structure it in a manner so that it's presented in a certain way. And the working towards the questions of the interview also helped me get the offer letter.
Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another version of our podcast. Today I have a very special student of mine, Mrityunjay, who is currently at SMU pursuing his MBA, and I think this podcast is something which is very special to me. The last time me and Mrityunjay met, it was in Delhi at our office. But how I think life has changed. He is sitting in Singapore and I'm again in Delhi itself. But it's very good to see you, Mrityunjay. How are you? How are things? How's it has been?
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Hope you've been well. I've been well. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank you and Ace My Prep, for believing in me and having trusted in me with their processes and making me learn all the relevant tricks and methodology of how to apply in different universities. I've been well, sir.
Great, Mrityunjay. I think the best thing is, I think when you have a student who is there on ground, right, doing an MBA program, it feels so proud. And I think I'm the most happiest person to see you right now. I truly love your jacket. I think that's the best thing that I have seen, and it feels proud. I hope the feeling is same there as well.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. I mean, I haven't taken off this jacket since the past couple of months now.
No, I can imagine the feeling, like, going from Delhi to Singapore, and you have achieved so many things in between. But yes, so today's podcast, I think, is something which is very crucial right now, and it's about giving a lot of knowledge to the viewers, drawing upon your experiences, and what exactly is something that where did you come from, and then how did you take your decision of doing an MBA, right? So let's start on that. ठीक है, अपने बारे में talk something about yourself, about your background, and then one by one let's take it forward from here.
Sure. So I'll tell you, you know about my background. However, still, let me just quickly go through what I have been doing or what I had been doing, what my background was. So I did my engineering in electronics and communications from Chitkara University, and ever since I was doing my engineering, I was passionate about optics and electronics. That led me to pursue my career in the medical devices sector. I was a hands-on engineer for one of the top Fortune 500 companies by the name of Becton Dickinson. BD is a global leader in medical delivery and safety procedures. So I was handling a couple of portfolios with them and taking care of territories such as the northern part of India and the central part of India. I had a traveling job, and I was always inclined on doing sales while in the service horizontal. While serving my customers, I wanted to sell and upsell them with the contracts, or maybe reagents and instruments for that matter. So I did that for about close to 4 years, and I was working with another medical devices organization by the name of Olympus, which is now Evident Life Sciences. They are a Japanese-based company, And my last role was with the Anton Par. Anton Par is an Austrian organization. They are also manufacturing premium analytical instrumentations. So I was rendering my services in the sales vertical with different industries, not restricting myself to just medical devices industry, but I was rendering my services in the pharmaceutical sector, agri-tech manufacturing, FMCG manufacturing, all your defense as well. Yes, yes.
Correct. So I think great experience, extensive experience. So your decision, like, having such a vast experience, good companies, I think you got promoted as well. एक इतने अच्छे position पे you were working. Like, I think the last role at Anton Par was something which was very, very good. You were doing so well. So when did this thought of an MBA came? कि यार, this is the point कि अब मुझे MBA करना है, and how did it start? Because there would have been many reasons, might be personal, might be professional, might be a lot of reasons inside yourself. I know the reasons, but still I want to know it कि कैसे वो start हुआ.
So for me, it was a mix of both, personally and professionally as well. I'll give you a background of my father as well. My father has been, into the HR, and he's serving one of the top hospitality chains in India right now as a director HR. So he was always keen on helping me learn more about fundamentals of businesses and how things are done on a global scale. So he was the one who actually guided me to pursue an MBA or look for an MBA, maybe in India or maybe outside India for that matter. And my mother also supported me a lot. She was the one who took me to different tuition centers, and she enrolled me in a lot of GRE GMAT classes, and she was there for me, right? So for me, if I talk about professional, if I would want to serve as a national manager or maybe have my own team, with the right skill set, right, I required learnings out of the day-to-day mundane routine, if I would say. जैसे मान लो कि अगर मैं अपना डेली काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं उसके अलावा भी थोड़ा और पढ़ना चाह रहा था, समझना चाह रहा था कि how are things done at the C-suite level, how are things planned, what is strategy, how are MVPs derived, or how do we take on different organizations, different projects at the same time. So for me professionally, it was more sort of having a jump as well in the hierarchy. So that was the main reason I wanted to do an MBA. And yeah.
Great. I think the preparation for your MBA, I think that was something which we have heard stories about, and I want to come to those stories. The first being your GRE preparation, and you scored so well in your GRE, and I think that was one of the highlights of your profile, right? You put your heart and sweat to it. So कैसे prepare किया GRE का? Because I think the major question is, how did you balance your work along with the studies and getting such an exceptional score? So I think you have to tell us that.
So sir, it had been a very long journey, right? I had been preparing for my exams in the past couple of years. I mean, if I were to tell you, since 2022, mid 2022, right? I had enrolled myself in a lot of other classes, as you suggested me earlier. I could have gone with Crack Verbal or Magoosh, or maybe different modules that you had suggested me. So I had initially taken classes with them, and I was unable to give time to it initially. But I figured out that until and unless I give time to it and I read and learn every day, practice every day, I will not be able to get through my examinations. I actually gave my GMAT a couple of times, didn't score well. It was somewhere around 650, 670. Then I decided on changing my strategy. As you suggested, might as well try for a GRE exam and look for, explore in the GRE segment, because it is accepted, widely accepted all across the globe, right? So, I mean, that's how, I got a GRE in my mind, and I used to travel. So I had a traveling job, right? Service and sales require traveling on site to customer sites every day. I mean, most of the times in a month I used to travel. I mean, a couple of days here and there would have been at my house. but still, I mean, while traveling in buses or in trains, I used to study. I used to plan my day as such that early morning I took the buses so that I'm fresh in the morning, and I study for about 5 to 6 hours before start working at the client site. And maybe once I was done during the day, I used to go back, practice the questions that I had. Practice the topics that I had learned in the morning. And then this was a cycle, sir. This was a cycle for about a year or so.
2 years.
Yeah, close to 2 years, and until the inevitable was there.
True. So when did you get your score? So when you got your score, how was the reaction? Like, what was that
Sir,
something?
I still remember I gave my exam on the 6th of April last year.
Right.
The final theory exam that I gave. And they have, I think, a couple of weeks time or maybe 15 days time for them to give back the report cards, right? So while I was giving my exam on the 6th of April, I could see my marks, right? And I was so happy. I was so happy that I could score 169 in the quad and 164 in the verbal, which is apparently a very nice score. And unless I had gotten my report card, I was a bit skeptical, because this thing was there in my mind that I should get my report card. Until then, I hadn't well, apart from you. So I didn't even tell my parents until I had got my report card. So I mean, parents were happy. Everyone was happy in the house when they got to know. And that. And after that, we had actually planned a trip to Ladakh, just to celebrate it.
That's good. That's good. I think these small achievements always means a lot. And I think the number 3, 3 and 3, your GRE score was 333. So I think the number is also lucky. So
it's the number of support, sir. I think it's supported me getting through my admissions though.
Right. No, definitely. And I think that is something which is very good, right? And I think what I could sense is that, after you got your GRE score, that is the time when you thought, okay, chalo, the first thing is done. Now let's go to study abroad and let's go to, the MBA part, right? So
absolutely.
Right. So MBA के लिए, like when you first started to research जब आप कर रहे थे, so क्या था, मतलब what was your thought process around that? It was कि India से ही करना है, or you were inclined towards other countries as well. So because होता क्या है, students they do a lot of their own research, right? So what was your research methodology? कुछ fears थे जब आप MBA के लिए ढूंढ रहे थे, या were there any questions in your mind? क्या था उस time पे?
So, sir, actually, I had also cleared my exam at NMIMS, as I told you earlier. But I was more inclined on exploring universities outside India. I was a bit bullish initially for the US. I wanted to study in the US, having a healthcare sector and healthcare sector experience. I wanted to study at Johns Hopkins initially. I thought that it could resonate a lot more to what I had done previously and complement of what I had been doing earlier. So, but after talking to you, I thought that, it will not, how do I put it? It will not do justice to the score and the profile as well. I should have my options a bit open, taking into consideration different industries, because I have a very extensive background in different industries as well, right? So I shouldn't restrict myself towards the healthcare sector, but simultaneously explore universities that I could complement my work experience and understand how things are done at certain regions of the world. So, initially I was thinking about the US, but since, the election year was coming and the type of investment the US universities were demanding were very high for, a guy like me who had just been, working for the past six and a half years. To invest that much amount of money was a big ask from myself and my parents as well, which I didn't want. So, after consulting with you and after having a word with you, we changed our strategy towards Singapore. Since all the medical devices organizations headquarters of the PAC are in Singapore, and this is what I had been planning out through with you. that
Correct.
might as well shift कर लेते हैं Singapore में. It's one third of the cost than the US. So
Correct.
we would have to pay somewhere around 180k, maybe 190k in the US for the top 30 universities, whether it be Darden, or whether it be Columbia, or whether it be Yale, or whether it be any other university. Johns Hopkins also considering the same. Whereas in Singapore, the MBA cost is, I think, one third of what Columbia was taking. Right? It is somewhere around $77,000 for this year, and it will increment in the coming year as well. So यहाँ पे भी price बढ़ने वाले हैं, but not as much as the US.
Yes. No, that's true. I think when you came in, I still remember कि JHU हमारा सबसे पहला target था that this is the one school that I want to crack because of its medical college and everything. And I remember our first session as well, when we were talking and discussing कि अच्छा यार, what are the things that you are looking forward to. You had an exceptional score. Then I think there was a confusion between tech MBA, normal MBA, health sector MBA. So there was a lot of conversations and discussions going on. But again, I think taking a small step back, when you started exploring, so you thought that okay, the cost factor came into the picture. Then the factor that okay, the headquarters are there in Singapore, right? I think there was one more thing that we were focusing on was the urgency, right? कि जल्दी जाना है, and January intake was one of the biggest advantages that we had for SMU particularly, and sending that application in was something which was very good. So ठीक है, एक थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन I'll ask कि how did you find or how did you come across ASMAPrep? कैसे पता चला ASMAPrep के बारे में कि this is the platform you wanted guidance on?
So, sir, AMP, I was actually fortunate enough to have a word with my friends Anuj, who is now an alum at Northwestern University.
Correct.
So he was doing his masters from there, and I had approached him. I asked him, brother, what's the scene? How did you prep for your applications and stuff? Since he also had a very nice GRE score, so he was my first go-to person to actually have a word with at that time, and he really praised AMP and you guys a lot. He was actually telling me that every person in the team, whether it be from the counseling team or maybe at the backend team or maybe with the support team, everyone took onus of what they had been doing, and everyone was hands-on with their approaches, and everyone was very professional with how they work. So, I mean, that is how I got to meet you and Pragya ma'am as well. So, that's how I met you guys. And ever since then, we've been in close touch, right?
So definitely, I think the relationships have built up and got even more stronger. And abhi to, matlab, it's so good to see कि यार abhi we took a good decision. We had a lot of discussions, I think. And abhi what is, I think, the major thing that people are in a tussle right now, I think I'm बहुत difficult एक question पूछने वाला हूँ. I want your perspective and opinion on it. The major question right now that the students are facing and the people who are thinking to go to the US, right? Because initially you also came for US कि यार मुझे US जाना है, but you pivoted to Singapore, right? So अभी का scenario, I think you would be very much aware कि क्या चल रहा है US में, right? So why do you think कि any other country right now is better than US, right? In any of the sense, right? So what is your opinion on this? What is your perspective on this particularly? Like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it, there is no thought about it, or, US is a hegemon, will always be a hegemon, wo wala hai. So what is your perspective? Because बहुत students हैं अभी जो US से shift हो रहे हैं, right? And I think you were the first person, so the insight that you can give is something that is going to help a lot of students plan on how they have to go ahead. So what is it? What is your perspective?
So sir, I think that it depends totally on the profile of the individual. Every person has a different profile. Every person has a different roadmap. Every person has a different aspiration of what they would want to do. If I were to talk to you about a friend of mine who is having his own business and wanting to do an MBA right now, so I would ask him to come to Singapore, explore the universities over here, and maybe establish your business over here after working a while. But for me, if I were to tell you that I have a sister as well, my younger sister, Nandini, जिसके बारे में मैंने आपसे बात करी थी पहले, तो she is studying at Yale. And she is doing her masters in climate change or something, environmental management. and a lot of funding has been cut down by the government right now for the sustainability sector. So it's a bit difficult to land jobs, to be honest, as of now. Anuj, also one of my friends who got the job, he got the job after 6-7 months of trying, right? And not even in the domain he was wanting to do. However, he is now getting opportunities. So I think it depends upon the time of the year as well, and the duration when you pass out, and how the geopolitics are functioning. For us, if I were to give an example, for us it worked out well because I was pretty clear of what I wanted with my MBA, right? And I wanted to work in the my preference was to work in the medical sector. But since now I'm in Singapore, a lot of fintech organizations are also approaching me, and I've been in talks with them. For example, Razorpay is also expanding their business in Singapore from India. So in the coming week, I have an interview with them as well. And after transitioning from India at SMU, I have been interviewed at Microsoft. I have been interviewed at Google. I've met people from Amazon. So, I mean, it depends upon person to person and profile to profile, as you were saying to me initially as well. बंदे के ऊपर रहता है कि how does one approach their profile, उनकी क्या aspiration है, वो क्या role में चाहते हैं, what are they wanting out of an MBA, what courses do they feel would suit their profile and their grooming. Because I have actually had a word with a lot of individuals about it. But at AMP and with you guys, you were very candid with me on explaining how things are on ground. So I think it's my responsibility to tell you how things should be as well. Once people are there in Singapore as well. I'm not saying that it's very easy to land jobs in SG as well, but depends upon the type of profile. And where they are doing their MBA from. I mean, people could say that NUS is a better college or NTU is a better college. Depends upon the profile and depends upon the research in the academy as well, because the rankings are decided in a manner wherein 50% of the delta is given to the people who have been placed and 50% is given to the research sector. So, based on that, then only rankings are decided.
No, I think that is very true what you just said. And I think profile wise, every student wise, this is something which is very specific. As you mentioned, geopolitics, very big part, Trump elections, सब कुछ ऊपर नीचे कर दिया है Trump ने, and that was something which that is the major reason why this question is arised, right? By a lot of times in the conversations and a lot of queries are raised, right? So आपने, if I ask कि आपने सिंगापुर में और SMU में particularly, you were drawing comparisons. I think we were sitting together, we were drawing comparisons कि यार अच्छा what will be good for us, what would be better with us, right? अच्छा इसका क्या disadvantage है, इसका क्या advantage है, right? So what were your major, I would say, attraction points for Singapore, if I ask कि अच्छा Singapore as a country, and then SMU में आपको ऐसा क्या पसंद आया that we thought that okay, let's go ahead and apply.
So, first of all, sir, हमारी जो discussion हुई थी पहले भी, the thing I liked about SMU was that it is in the city center. It's in the downtown area, right? And all the other colleges are on the outskirts, rather, on the east or west coast of Singapore, which a typical research-based college would be, right? So, since they work towards a lot more on the scientific sector as well, the campus is established in a manner wherein these universities avail a lot of rebates and tax benefits from the organization. However, SMU being in the city center, it's more sort of a management college, I believe. That networking with people in the city center is way easier than networking with someone who's on the outskirts, right? You will have to travel a couple of hours here and there, and commutation is also a challenge, right? And I believe that the professors over here, after studying a term over here and completing a term successfully over here, I figured out that it depends totally on the individual and the professors they are wanting to learn from and what subjects. For me, the major thing that mattered was on a few points with respect to OBHR. OBHR is a course that is organizational behavior and leadership. Is something that I'm getting a lot of impact from. Because I think that as a professional, I could have done things a bit better. I while I was in the course, it was a whole immersive experience for me as well. Things were discussed real time, nothing was scripted, everyone was candid about things they felt. And I think that this is the kind of approach university should have. I'm sure that different universities will also have similar types of styles, but I think that the type of cases and the type of background of the professors also matters a lot.
Correct. No, that is true. I think the pointers of the curriculum, right? The importance of the curriculum, the importance of the professors. Again, location of the university depends a lot, right? If the location is not prime, then you are in the wrong position. But not
Absolutely,
wrong, I would say, but not wrong. But again, let's say a course या line नहीं करा है.
कोर्स अलाइन नहीं है सर, डिपेंड करते हैं। जैसे आपने बताया था कि देखो तुम्हारा बड़ा क्लियर गोल है, तुम्हें टेक्निकल नॉलेज है, तुम्हें टेक्निकल नॉलेज नहीं चाहिए, तुम्हें मैनेजमेंट नॉलेज चाहिए, तो तुम्हारे लिए ये वाला कॉलेज ज्यादा बेटर है रादर देन गोइंग टू रिमोट प्लेस वेयर इन यहाँ पे कॉम्पिटिशन वगैरह सब आसान है, चलो ठीक है, एवरीथिंग इज इजी, सब कुछ चीजें है, बट वहां पे मैं क्या उतना एक्सेल कर पाऊंगा या नहीं कर पाऊंगा वो मुझे नहीं पता। एक्सेल में क्या पता मैं अच्छे से और कर लूं, जो कि मेरे को यहाँ पे फील भी हो रहा है। वी आर अ cohort of 42 members right now, and we have a very diverse cohort. There are 10 Singaporeans, 8 Indians from India, 4 Americans, 2 Germans, 2 Austrians, 2 people from Thailand, 2 people from the Philippines. People are there from Myanmar as well. People are there from Mongolia as well. So it's good to understand how things are done globally, right? They all come from typical professional background, right? No one is someone who's come straight out of their bachelor's. Everyone is a working professional or having a business.
Correct.
So,
I think
there's this guy. Sorry, apologies for interrupting. There's this guy in my class who's 44 years old, right?
Okay.
He has worked in the fintech industry and he owns a business right now over here, and still he's doing his MBA. So age doesn't matter. It depends upon when you would want to do it, right?
The right time. I think there's no such thing as an age for an MBA. Again, हमारी discussion भी यही थी कि यार अभी this is the right time to do it or not. There was pressure and कि करना है, अभी ही करना है, इसी साल जाना है तो जाना है, right? And I think Singapore came out to be a blessing in disguise. I think when we were discussing. हमारा तो यही था कि let's try सर एप्लीकेशन डाल के देखते हैं क्या होता है. That was our statement. Right. And ठीक है, तो मतलब around the application as well, मतलब there were a lot of essays, right? We worked on your CV as well. So उसमें what do you think would be the pointers that let's say a future student should look at? कि अच्छा अगर if a person wants to go to SMU or an MBA in Singapore particularly, if I ask, so how should he or she tailor the profile? देखो basic profile तो everybody knows कि you should have experience because it's a mid senior to senior level course, right? But अगर आपको उसको और specific करना है, so what all things you have to work on? So आपको क्या लगा कि यार अच्छा मेरी प्रोफाइल में जब मैं आया था तब ये नहीं था, but जब मैंने application डाला so there were additions to it. So क्या था उसमें आपका perspective?
So sir, सबसे पहले तो आपको थैंक यू बोलना चाहूंगा मैं. I really want to thank you for the template that you had suggested me, because it was really resonating with what SMU has, right? And while working with you, I understood that there were a lot of key takeaways in my resume that I hadn't shown that I should have. I was a bit skeptical initially कि यार मैं ये चीज लिखूं नहीं लिखूं, ये चीज लिखनी चाहिए मेरे को नहीं लिखनी चाहिए. But after working with you, I realized that, something that is impactful and that has created impact, maybe on the society or on the customer front or maybe in the company front, we should quantify it and write it. Writing subjective things is one thing, but quantifying the subject is the one key takeaway that, worked really well for us. And while working with you, I realized that I was not giving a lot of emphasis on the social impact things that I had done. I was working as an NSS mentor. I was working in the Ankur schools, but I never mentioned that in my resume. I thought, it doesn't really matter that well. However, for universities in Singapore, you told me that, it's something that is valued immensely. And after coming here, I figured out that, still people value it. Even if you are 40, 45, 50, people who are doing social work, people who are serving in the society, people who are giving back to the community, they are the ones who are actually preferred. So, addition of all these things in my resume really, lifted it up.
Correct. No, definitely. I think aligning it and adding things on your profile, because होता क्या है, when you are a working professional, आप काम कर रहे हो इतने टाइप से, there are times, at times you don't stop and look at your achievements. कि अच्छा यार exactly क्या किया था, मेरे काम ने क्या impact डाला था. So I think that is the major thing that everybody should highlight in their profile. And अगर there is always a weakness in the profile. There is no profile called as a perfect profile. And कैसे आप उसको mitigate करते हो, I think that's the major thing. But I think, yes,
that is the thing that you have taught me, and ma'am have taught me, Pragya ma'am have taught me, how to work on your strengths, and working towards getting your weakness in a manner to have it as a strength as well. So this is also something that it was nicely worked out.
Correct. No, definitely. I think that was there, and I think the most anxious time was the waiting period. जब आपका interview preparation चल रहा था, I think that was something which was like every day, every morning at 9, I'm getting a call from Mrityunjay भाई, सर आप बताइएगा, सर आया कुछ, सर आएगा कब तक आएगा, सर मैं बात करता हूँ, सर मैं किसी तरह रेट करता हूँ, सर मैं बताता हूँ आपको. So I think that waiting period plus the interview preparation was something which was very, very rigorous. ठीक है, had to be there. I think कि हमारा interview experience was something which was which was an experience for you, right? So how did it go? How did it go? कैसा रहा वो interview experience?
So this was not same as a company interview, right? I have given company interviews, and I thought that it would be a bit similar, but it was nice to take guidance from you and Pragya ma'am. You were really helpful to help me prepare with the right set of questions, with the right set of structure. Having a structure is something that I figured out that is of the utmost importance, and I thank AMP for having structure in my answers as well during my preparations, right? अभी prepare तो सब अपन ने करके करा ही था, है ना, कि structure ऐसे करेंगे, वैसे करेंगे, ये बात पहले करेंगे, वैसे करेंगे, having A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4 of everything. But working towards type of questions is something that I learned with you guys. Having a concrete structure to the right questions, say, why SMU, why MBA, why MBA at this stage in life, because this is something that a lot of professors have also asked me once I was here. I remember having a word with my corporate finance Professor Bart. Mm-hmm. So we were doing a case study of Stryker, a medical devices organization. So I worked with them, right? They were my clients for a few product portfolio. Okay. So while we were discussing this case study, I was able to give all the answers in the class, starting from the finances till the background of the technicals as well. So, he called me up one day and he asked me, Mrityunjay, what's your story? Why do you want to do an MBA? So I was able to give him the same answer as we had.
Is that the same answer till now? Is that the same answer till now?
So yes, sir. it depend करता है सर. देखो है ना, वैसे ये भी है ना, more or less ये भी है कि हमारा एक जो मोटिव है ना, हम जो हमारे दो तरीके के गोल्स होते हैं ना सर, शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग टर्म. तो हम उसमें कैसे, आप ही ने मेरे को बता दी क्वांटिफाई कैसे करना है, उसको बोलना कैसे है, कैसे चीजें रखनी है. And it's still the thing, right? I mean, eventually somewhere down the line, I would want to do my own business as well, right? I mean, after having 5-10 years of experience in Singapore, I would want to lead a company and establish a company in India as well, or maybe. But having said that, working in the industry also plays a very vital aspect, because you get an understanding of how processes are, how the company functions in an APAC level, and what are the challenges the company faces. So having these structured questions in place at the right time with the right preparation. I remember the time when Pragya ma'am was having regular sessions with me, 4 to 5 sessions a day. You were having a couple of sessions with me early in the morning, somewhere around 7:38 in the morning. You were having sessions with me. So that is the type of support one should expect from people like you. And I think that AMP has done a great job.
Definitely, I think we have done a good job. You are sitting at SMU.
Yes, sir. That is it.
Yeah, but that's good. And I think then I think the interview went and it went well. I remember कि आपका call आया था कि sir the interview went very good. And again the expectations were very high. The waiting period, the anxious period. I don't think there is someone who can overcome that. But it is just time, and that tests your patience and everything.
Patience.
और
Patience
patience
is a skill we must master.
बस प्रैक्टिस उसमें मास्टर हो गए भाई कि चलो अब तो सब हमारा उसके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है बट I remember when the offer letter came in, it was early 7:30.
You were the one who actually shared with me the offer letter. I was sleeping. I was asleep. You shared it to me at 6:30 in the morning, and you had given me a call on the 20th of August. की मृत्युंजय आ गया आपका offer letter. भाई देख लो एक बारी.
And I think that was the moment that it was like finally after a very long time we had achieved it. So आपका क्या रिएक्शन था? मैं तो तुम्हें आधी नींद से उठा दिया था भाई. And I'm still, I don't feel sorry for it, to be very honest.
Sir, you don't have to. तब से मैं सोया भी नहीं हूँ सर जब से letter आया. I was so very happy, sir. I was so very happy because we had planned it, from the scratch, right?
Correct.
I remember we were keeping other options as well in US NTU, but we hadn't applied in those yet. We were bullish on the fact that let's crack this, let's do it. You have a good profile, let's work it out, let's structure it in a manner so that it's presented in a certain way, and the working towards the questions of the interview also helped me get the offer letter. And I was amongst the first few people who actually got their offer letters in the month of August. People usually got their offer letters from the month of September ending, or maybe people also got it in December last week. Before the session.
I think you were flying most time में तो आपको जाना ही था. You were preparing.
Yeah, I was flying at that time, sir. I was flying at that time. People got their offer letters then as well. However, having said that, a structure is what AMP and you guys provide. Having a whole holistic approach to the applications and the interview rounds, and whether it be with the visa work as well, whether it be at any step, right? You are there, you guys are there to help out, right? So this is something which is very commendable, sir.
No, definitely. I think when the offer letter came in, you were happy. And मुझे याद है कि
parents were happy, sir. Parents were also very happy.
क्या बात कर रहे हैं? I was तो क्या बात कर रहे हो? सही बताओ. फिर उठो पहले उठ के मेरा offer letter देखो. So I think that was an experience, and then from that day to currently at SMU, right? How does it feel? Matlab, I know being away from home has its own disadvantages, but how does it feel abhi at SMU? How is your experience going so far?
Sir, it's a dream come true. I couldn't have imagined it doing it alone. I was actually blessed by God that you guys were here to support me and guide me all the way through. And it wouldn't have been possible without you guys. I still remember the time I landed. As soon as I landed, I went to the university just to have a look at the university where I will be going, right? This thing has always been there. I've only seen it through YouTube or maybe on Google or something of this sort. But as soon as I landed, I came to my place, I put my stuff, and I just ran towards the university. I stayed pretty near to the university. So when we had started our term, right, we had a pre-orientation as well, and getting to know a lot of professionals in different industries and in the similar sector as well. It's good to have a diverse cohort, because everyone is valued, everyone is given their set of voice, everyone can ask questions, right? There is no right and wrong questions in the program, but curious questions are there, right? So I have actually learned how to get that curiosity again after a while in the classroom as well. Working was a different thing, but in the classroom, going up to the professor and asking him, how should we do this? What should have been a better approach over here? These are some things that I had missed and now I'm liking all of these things, right?
That's great, यार. I think so. Talking more about your experience, ठीक है. So जब SMU में मतलब when you landed in Singapore, तो कुछ तो रहा होगा दिमाग में कि what were the initial thoughts? Were you scared? Were you nervous? क्या था कि मतलब कैसा रहेगा? How would it be? Culturally, will you adapt to the culture? Because it's a very big shift. आप पता नहीं, you have been living in India for a very long time, and then at one point of time you have to fly off to a country which is very different culturally. Again, it's an Asian country, but still, right? If you see Singapore, it's very, very different. So kaisa raha, how was your initial month, and how was your how did you overcome, if you had any challenges? Koi challenge mila aapko wahan pe when you landed and when you started studying? So how did you overcome that? So kuch tell me some situations.
सर कल्चरली तो ऐसा है कि देखो एवरी कल्चर इज रिस्पेक्टेड ओवर हियर, है ना. चीजें थोड़ी सटल है बट रिस्पेक्टेड है, और सबकी ओपिनियंस रिस्पेक्टेड है. But as soon as you enter the program, there are groups that have been made for group activities or case studies or maybe presentations or maybe all sorts of activities that go beyond your classroom, right? So that is one thing that one should understand how things are done with different cultures. There are certain, if I were to say that in India we can stand up close to people and talk, right? Over here it's not like that. You need to have a certain set of distance with people while you talk. You can't be just going and tapping on their back like India ki chalo haan bhai theek hai kaisa hai ye hai aisa nahi hai, until unless they are comfortable with you or they know you well enough to allow these things. However, talking about the things on a professional level, people are pretty open over here. They value your voice, they value your opinions, they value what type of questions you would have, what kind of understanding you are wanting to have, and the professors are also very approachable over here. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब अपना क्लास में पढ़ा दिया चले गए, ऐसा नहीं है. If you are invested, they are vested in the talent, they are vested in the leaders, because they feel that we are the future leaders and we are, right? तो वो vested है हर एक बंदे को ट्रेन करने में. वो पूरा पेन लेता है बंदा, वो पूरा प्रोफेसर पेन लेगा आपको बताने का. I still remember in my leading digital transformations class, I was having this not doubt but a curious question. After the class, I went to the professor and the class got over at 6:45. She was there till 8 in the evening. Just to clarify my questions. Yeah.
I think that is something what the professors they do, and I think that's across almost all the universities. ठीक है, a quick fun question. ठीक है, तो what are the 5 things you like about Singapore, and what were the 5 things that you don't like about Singapore?
5 things about Singapore is the infrastructure over here. The air quality over here is amazing.
Coming from Delhi,
the air quality is amazing. I used to run in Delhi, but running in Singapore is a different experience altogether. Then the campus is beautiful, sir. It's a very beautiful campus. The place is beautiful. So since it is in the city center, a lot of emphasis is given to different types of hawkers, and then there are different hawker stalls nearby. It's not a fuss for me to look for food, this and that. And
I need a campus tour. यार एक वीडियो बनाओ, एक campus tour चाहिए.
आप आ जाओ, मैं तो आपकी वेट कर रहा हूँ. साथ में बना के मैं एक बार एमपी के उसमें डाल देते हैं. मैं भेज दूंगा बता के मुझे क्या. But I would love to have you also in that video.
Definitely. वो तो और फिर तो that will go to another level craze. But yeah, I think that's good. Apart from the campus and everything, what did you like?
मेरे को तो प्रोफेसर बढ़िया लगे. मेरे को तो प्रोफेसर भी ठीक है. प्रोफेसर अच्छे लगे मेरे को तो, कि अप्रोचेबल है और समझते हैं, रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं कि बंदा कौन से इंडस्ट्री से आ रहा है. Because not every industry is the same, right? People are there in my class from the army as well. They are from the ministries as well. So strategy at different levels, different industries, different, right? तो ये हो गया सर. तो ये काफी अच्छा लगा मेरे
कुछ
को तो यहाँ पे।
नापसंद, कुछ ऐसा जो पसंद नहीं आया
सर
सिंगापुर?
ना पसंद तो देखो, ना पसंद सर कभी कभार खाना ही हो जाता है कि यार आई डोंट लाइक टू कुक, राइट? आई डोंट लाइक टू कुक. I have never cooked in my life, but after coming here, I've started cooking. I have never washed dishes. I have never washed my clothes, and after coming here, I have to do it
Do everything.
because it's expensive.
It is very expensive. No, I can understand,
Right.
but chalo, that's good. That's good. That if you are
Uh,
having the fun
those-
time, देखो, it's an experience. है तो experience है यार, ये
हाँ,
तो
बिल्कुल. मैंने अपनी मम्मी को बताया कि मम्मी मैंने खाना बनाया है, मैंने कपड़े धोए. मेरी मम्मी की आंखों से आंसू आ गए.
नहीं, obviously वो तो आएगा भी यार. Having said that, तो definitely आएगा. But yes, I think coming to Singapore back, and I think just summing, I have some few more things to discuss. कि यार अच्छा, अभी in the kind of experience that you're getting, as you explained, कि यार professors बहुत अच्छे हैं, the kind of industry connections are good, the networking opportunities are going very well, right? So how do you see your MBA experience, particularly at SMU, shaping your future, right? कैसा लगता है? Like, do you feel confident, right? What do you think कि आगे का prospect
Definitely.
क्या है?
Definitely. I do feel confident, sir. I mean, every class skill, every class gives you a different skill set. Every class gives you a different approach to certain case scenarios, and that are real life case scenarios. That is not something that is just in the books, but
Correct.
they are there, right? They are there to be used in the real life case scenarios. तो एक तो ये काफी अच्छा लगा सर मेरे को कि चलो यहाँ पे ये चीज बेहतर है. कॉन्फिडेंस तो सर देयर इज कॉन्फिडेंस फॉर श्योर, and with the level of rankings they have, they are, I think, they are number one in Asia right now, since they are in the silver jubilee year. Based on the rankings in the financial sector they have done, they are number one in Asia right now. So I think that it is a very nice university, and
Don't you think, मतलब ऐसा लगता नहीं कभी कभार कि यार studying in Asia, will it keep you restricted to Asia itself? कभी ऐसा question है?
No. I am having I am having conversations with people in the US, in Germany as well, in Austria as well. I'm having discussions with people in Canada as well. I mean, it depends upon the individual, right? It depends upon the individual. It depends upon the person, how he or she would want to take things, take onus of their actions, right? Abhi,
Correct.
landing a job is a different thing, but having connect with people is a different thing.
True. No, that is always true. मतलब opportunities तो मिलेंगे आपको. You have to grab it, and if you fail to grab it, someone else will grab it. So I think that is the major thing, and putting your skills to the right place, I think that is also a very big thing. ठीक है, and I think SMU and Singapore, if you sound confident, and I am happy to see that. And I think now comes the drum roll. What is the prospective advice, or what is the advice that you would like to give to prospective students who are looking forward to Singapore as a destination to study, right? And क्या चीजों पे आप उनको advice करोगे that they should be careful of while coming, or what should they do, how they should start, right? So क्या लगता है, what would you give, what would be the golden advice to the people watching, listening to us right now?
So sir, the first thing is deciding on the right university. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमारे भी जैसे पहले डिस्कशन हुआ था कि NCERT एक बार ट्राई कर लेते हैं, तो बट नहीं है. मुझे यहाँ पे आने के बाद लगता है कि पीपल हु आर टिपिकली कंसल्टेंट्स और हु हैव कंसल्टिंग बैकग्राउंड आर प्रेफर्ड इन NCERT rather than SMU, right? So having known your strengths is something one should also keep in mind while applying for universities. But this is the truth, sir. This is something which is very candid, right? Having aspirations is one thing, but realistic goals थोड़े अलग हो जाते हैं, जैसे हमारे आपने मेरे को समझाया था. तो one could be that, and second तो sir it's good only, sir. People are very welcoming over here. The professors are welcoming, or there could be ups and downs here and there, but that's also part and parcel of the learning, right? Not all days are same. ऐसे ही सर, and people shouldn't feel homesick after coming here.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Okay, SMU, I think the course is just 1 year, right? And
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
do a lot of things in, and then immediately you have to look for a job or an internship
Uh,
very, very quickly, right? So because payback period आपका उतना ज़्यादा नहीं है as compared to it, and as you
mm,
mentioned कि elections and everything is an aspect there right now. So
mm,
उसकी वजह से visa restrictions and everything are there. But as you said कि है problems, but ऐसा नहीं है कि they are very big, right? They are getting better, and वो हमेशा change होता रहेगा, right? I think that is with every country, but particularly Singapore being in the spotlight has to, I think this is something which is very, very valuable for us कि उनको पता होना चाहिए like what's the on ground situation. So I think
definitely, sir, definitely. जैसे आप मतलब as rightly said by you that depends upon the person where he wants to do his MBA, where he wants to study. I mean, I was having a word with a friend of mine in the UAE. He's there in Dubai. So he did his masters from Mrityunjay University, and he wanted to work in Dubai only. So after doing his MBA from Mrityunjay, he got through a job over there. So typically depends upon the aspiration of the individual where they would want to work, how they feel market is for them. Because बोलना कुछ होता है, करना कुछ होता है, और सबके अपने अलग एस्पिरेशन होते हैं. तो एक प्लान, कंक्रीट प्लान होना चाहिए, उसी पे स्टिक करना चाहिए, और उसी को ही मतलब वही है सर कि मतलब फॉलो करना चाहिए. डेली वही चीजें हैं उसमें. ऐसा नहीं है कि हाँ चलो आप आज कहीं चले गए, आप कहीं चले गए, आप MBA अपने आप हो रहे, ऐसा नहीं होता सर.
नहीं, मेहनत तो करना पड़ता है. आई थिंक हार्ड वर्क इज ऑलवेज द की. वो तो है. बट अगेन आई थिंक चलो आई लास्ट माय फेवरेट क्वेश्चन जो मैं हमेशा पॉडकास्ट में पूछता हूँ कि हाउ हैज योर एक्सपीरियंस बीन, हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस विद दिस माय फ्रेंड पर्टिकुलरली, एंड ओवरऑल कोई भी फीडबैक, anything that you would like to say, you are feel free to say it. तारीफ करो थोड़ी.
सर देखो, मेरे लिए तो मतलब एस माय प्रेप इज जस्ट लाइक माय फैमिली. यू गाइस हैव बीन जस्ट लाइक माय फैमिली. यू हैव बीन वेरी अप्रोचेबल. आप लोगों ने कभी भी ये नहीं बोला कि यार वी आर नॉट अवेलेबल टुडे. वी आर ऑलवेज देयर फॉर यू. मैंने सुबह 6:30 बजे फोन किया, 7 बजे फोन किया, 9 बजे फोन किया है. यू गाइस वर ऑलवेज देयर फॉर मी. फीडबैक तो सर क्या ही है, अभी आप लोगों ने यू हैव बीन देयर थ्रू माय थिक एंड थिन, और मेरे को तो हमेशा से अच्छा ही लगा है आपके साथ काम करके. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि इफ आई वर टू गिव अ प्राइस पॉइंट, ये प्राइस पॉइंट भी ठीक है. अगर मैं एक स्टूडेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखूं, यू हैव अ वेरी नाइस डिसेंट प्राइस पॉइंट. बाकी सारे कंसल्टेंट्स दे चार्ज hefty amounts of money. I have known people who have paid shitloads of money but never got what they wanted.
Correct.
So I mean, mixture of having an affordable price structure with the right skill set, with the right people like you and Pragya ma'am and every other in the other domain, is something that each student should look forward to. एंड फीडबैक तो सर देखो, अगर मैं फीडबैक बोलूंगा तो मैं क्या कहते हैं प्रज्ञा मैम को बोलूंगा कि मेरे टीचर की आप वो कर दो यार, प्रमोशन कर दो, और क्या फीडबैक दूंगा मैं.
I think that is so very, very sweet of you, and I think you have been one of the students that I have loved to work with. क्योंकि भाई होता ना यार, जब आप when you are talking to the student, and कभी हमारे बीच में वो student वाला कभी था ही नहीं, but there were times when I was learning more with you as well, आपके experiences से, and looking at it was a two-way street. It was never
it's a two-way. It's never one-sided relationship. It's a two-sided relationship.
It's a two-way street, right? And I think that has fostered, and today I think it is one of the best moments, I would say, जो मैंने starting में भी कहा कि connecting with you. Currently you are at SMU. I have one of my strongest networks there, right, which is you particularly. So I will be sending my students to you for guidance. So I
would love to be of help.
No, definitely.
AMP.
Yeah, finally, yes, you are from AMP to SMU. I think this has been a great journey, right? And I hope that this podcast gives a lot of clarity to students. Talk about, I think, the experience that we have talked about. This is something that should be there. And I think it was great conversing with you, right? बहुत मजा आया मृत्युंजय बात करके. Got to know a lot of things about Singapore. क्या चल रहा है, क्या नहीं चल रहा है. But you seem happy, you are confident, and I think this confidence has to be radiated to a lot of people who will be watching this podcast. So I think this is for the audience, particularly like, radiate on this energy, be confident, again, be opportunistic, right? You have to be that go-getter, right? So again, thank you so much, Mrityunjay, for
Yes, sir.
turning up, right? It was great interacting with you. I think हमारा रह गया था मिलना.
We were supposed to meet, but we couldn't. You were a bit sick at that
Correct,
time.
yes.
You were not. You were a bit under the weather.
Correct. So, no, but I think this is what destiny is, and I think we will connect even more further, right? And great, good one, great, Mrityunjay. So take care, right? Send me this picture. Let's post it.
Definitely,
ठीक है?
sir.
जैसे
Definitely,
ये
sir.
podcast live होता है, I think I will be the first person to share this with you. You should watch it first, right? I think great discussions. Let's go ahead, and I wish you all the very best, Mrityunjay. मतलब you have all my heart and all my good wishes, right? कुछ भी हो, you know I'm here always, right?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for saying that, sir.
Most welcome. Take care, right? I'll see you next time. And to the audience, right? Thank you so much for watching this. And again, stay connected. I think as this podcast mentioned a lot of things. I hope this brings value. But yes, see you next time.